opinion, and everything in between. The Mike Hosking Breakfast with Arvida Retirement Communities. Life your way. Newstalk ZB.
Morning, 7:07, so a lot riding on the next couple of days for the country and the government. Their much-hyped investment summit designed to get some very heavy hitters into the country and in the room to tell them, one, we're open and wanting your money, and two, here's what we have for you to invest in. Morrison & Co. are infrastructure investors. They've already delivered schools and prisons, university accommodation here through PPPs. Chief Executive Paul Newfield is with us. Paul, morning.
Morning, Mike. How are you doing?
Very well indeed. What's your expectation? What do you want to see in the next 48 hours?
I'll tell you what would be great, and I think, by the way, they'll deliver this. First of all is our government telling the world New Zealand is just a great place to invest right now. It's a safe haven. We're really stable. We've got good institutions, rule of law. That's more unusual than it should be in the world today. Secondly, we'd like to see some investable opportunities, things that people can actually get their teeth into in the next 12, 24 months. And then what we really want is them to say there's a multi-decade pipeline. Here's our vision for what infrastructure in New Zealand could be. And importantly, even if there's changes of government, we're committed to doing this over multiple decades because that's what will get people here.
The tangibles, a prison, a road, does that matter or not? Or are projects?
In some respects, projects are projects in terms of getting people here, getting builders here, getting investors here, as long as they're shaped well. And I think they will be shaped well. I think, obviously, for New Zealand, it matters. Hopefully, it's not just all roads. We can like to see some 21st century infrastructure that gets New Zealand catching up to being the country it could be.
Okay. Two things. Is the Prime Minister right the world is awash with cash?
Absolutely, but it's also awash with opportunities, right? So New Zealand needs to compete. When you think right back in the 80s, New Zealand was the pioneers. Literally, we were the first country in the world to start inviting the private sector into infrastructure. And we then kind of went quiet for a long time, and the world caught up. And it was great for us as Morrison. That meant a Kiwi company could go off, take the capability and become a world beater. But actually, I'd love to come back and do this back at home right now.
Right, so that was my second question. A lot of the world I'm reading is doing this. Everyone's into getting cash into projects. So how much competition do we face, and are we still hot-ish?
There's enormous competition, and at our investment committee every week, we're probably looking at 5 different opportunities from around the world. Obviously, we love doing things in New Zealand, so there is competition, but for us as Kiwis, we'd like to be doing more at home.
Plenary, Australian company, have already said this morning they're in for 5. They'll bid for the 5 that are already out there. Is that the sort of competition we want to see by the end of this 48 hours for your average everyday punter? Do we want to see a bunch of companies going, we're in and here's what we're in for?
Exactly. You want to see plenty of competition. I think the other thing you really want to see is the right kind of money showing up. So you want people who are long-term, patient, actually want to invest in growing country. You don't want just kind of quick flip money. And so I think that's why it's great we've got some of these really big global pension funds and sovereign funds here. The other thing that would be really good for New Zealand is if KiwiSaver really woke up to this opportunity, right? So it's not just internationals. In Australia, there's a $4 trillion superannuation scheme, and about 15% of that, so $600 billion, goes into infrastructure. So it's no coincidence they've got great infrastructure. You'd love to see KiwiSaver, as it gets better, start putting more money into New Zealand's infrastructure and global infrastructure.
Good stuff, and appreciate the insight, Paul. Paul Newfield, who is the Morrison & Co. Chief Executive in this part of the world, 10 minutes past 7.